morning all, I Yaduvir Singh welcomes you to the first session on blockchain technology and application development. So, in this lecture we will talk about introduction to blockchain. So, before studying this subject I will tell you what is the significance of it. If you are studying this subject blockchain technology and application development, then you can say that this is the real emerging technology in a current scenario. Why I am talking about it? It is the solution for all. Either you are talking about education, either you are talking about a pharmaceutical industry, either you are talking about a supply chain management, or you are talking about a health care. This is the solution for all, and this is the basic objective of studying this subject. So, when we are studying this subject, this blockchain is the preview in the emerging technologies, and this in this ICT world we are continuously upgrading ourselves. So, we have to have the basic concepts of a blockchain technology. So, this is the objective of studying this subject. Now, I will tell you about what are the learning objective of the subject. The first thing that is there is to understand the basic concept of a blockchain. The second aspect that is there is identify the different type of a blockchain network. So, these are the learning objective. Why I am talking about the learning objective? We have to study the things as per certain basic fundamental. So, this is the learning objective of this subject, and before going to the learning objective I will tell you there are prerequisite requirement too. What is the prerequisite requirement? You should have a basic fundamental knowledge of a data structure. The second thing that is there is you should have a basic concept for cryptography, and the third thing that is there is you should have a certain mathematical foundation, that is either you know prime number generation or you know what is random number generation. So, these are the prerequisite requirement with reference to this subject. Now, these are the things that I am talking about. What is elementary data structure is also there, then cryptography is also there, and distributed system and networking is also there. So, I will talk you about with the reference to these all basic prerequisite of these course, that is distributed system and networking, cryptography and elementary data structure. So, if you are talking about distributed system, the best example of distributed system is a mobile and your local area network, because all of the systems are connected in such a way that you are having an individual memory and individual processing capability. So, when we are dealing with this aspect, these are the applications of a distributed system. And then cryptography. So, if you are talking about cryptography, crypt means secret and graphy means writing. If you are doing something, you are doing it in this way, that is in a secret way, then a cryptography is a basic fundamental aspect. And if you are dealing with this, you should have a basic data structure known to you. So, these are the prerequisite requirement with reference to this course. Now, what are the table of content that we will study? The first thing that we will study is the overview aspect, key characteristic of a distributed system. We will talk about blockchain, we will talk about block, we will talk about blockchain features, we will talk about fundamental of a blockchain. So, these are the things that we will cover in this lecture. So, the first thing that is there is a distributed system. So, what is the meaning of a distributed system? I have told you the basic example of a distributed system. You are having a collection of independent computers that are having an individual processing capability and individual memory. So, this is the first and foremost thing, and all these things that are connected in a distributed environment are communicating through message passing. So, when you are dealing with a distributed system environment, you are having a capability to do large processing, high availability and fault tolerance and scalability. Fault tolerance means you are able to get the services instead of your failures, and scalability means if you are connected to the digital world, you are into the internet, and internet uses this distributed system, that is you can increase the system capacity as per the requirement. And then when you are talking about a key characteristic of a distributed system, one of the disadvantages that is included over here is a lack of a global clock. You can say that it can be a difficult task when you are dealing with a distributed system aspect. And then there is a concurrency. Concurrency means multiple components of the system may execute in a concurrent way, and the nodes failure are independent, and transparency is also there, because if you are dealing with the distributed system environment, the system that are connected, you know which system fails. And scalability is also an important aspect if you are dealing with a distributed system environment. So, these are the certain key characteristics of a distributed system. And then what is blockchain? So, you know basic fundamental of a distributed system. Now, we are moving to the definition of a blockchain. So, blockchain is a distributed ledger technology with the emergence of a cryptocurrency. Some people correlate blockchain with a cryptocurrency, but you can say that these blockchain is the basic foundation of a cryptocurrency, and you can say that with this foundation of a blockchain you can work on a cryptocurrency. And cryptocurrency terminology is given by Mr. Satoshi Nakamoto in the year 2008. You can read the white paper of him, and it will give you the basic fundamental of a Bitcoin or a cryptocurrency, how it works. And right now you know what is the total capacity of a Bitcoin. We will discuss it in later in the subsequent lectures. But if you are dealing with a blockchain, there is one terminology, that is distributed ledger technology. So, distributed ledger technology means you are working with the distributed system environment, and all the systems that are the part of the network are connected in a distributed way, and they are able to share the information who are the part of it. Okay. So, you can say that they are connected in a distributed database way. All the blocks are connected, and you can maintain a growing list of a record, which can be termed to be as a block. And you can say that each block will have a cryptographic hash, and a previous block information, and a timestamp, and a transaction data. So, these are the information that are included in a block. So, what is this cryptographic hash, how it behaves, what is the purpose of it, we will study in details with reference to subsequent lectures. And then this is about block. So, I have told you previously too that it is given by Satoshi Nakamoto in the year 2008-9, or you can say, and this is a growing list of records which are linked and secure using the cryptography. And this is the simulation or representation of a block. The first thing that is there is a data, the second thing that is there is a previous hash, and the next thing that is there is a next hash. So, in this way the blocks are connected in a blockchain network, and the first block is known as a genesis block. It does not have a previous hash, therefore, it is having a hash which is having a value 0. Okay. So, in this way the blocks are connected in a blockchain network, and these blocks tend to increase as per the requirement if you are allowed to be the part of a blockchain network. And these are the certain characteristics that are there with the reference to the blockchain. The first characteristic that is there is a distribution. The second characteristic that is there is a immutable feature. The third characteristic that is there is a cryptography, and the fourth characteristic that is there is a validation by a distributed network or a consensus. So, I am not saying that these are the only features, but these are the features. You can have a security features that is included in it too. Okay. About the features we will study in details in a subsequent lectures, because this is not the end with the reference to the blockchain features. It will continue to explore till you got to the end of this syllabus. Okay. And then this is the representation of it. The first is encryption, the second is immutability, the third is tokenization, and the fourth is decentralization and distribution. So, if you are talking about a blockchain representation, the first thing that is there is a encryption. Encryption means if you are dealing with a blockchain, you need to secure your data, and this is encryption, and this can be done with a hashing, which is known as a cryptographic hashing. We will discuss in detail how this cryptographic hashing work. And then immutability feature means once it is done, it cannot be tamper proof, it cannot be tampered, means it is tamper resistant. And then tokenization means if you are sending the sets of items with a reference to a blockchain network, you are having an entity that is associated as a token, that it is moving on to the network. And then decentralization is the important aspect of a blockchain network, and distributed system is the basic fundamental of it. So, we are talking about aspects of a blockchain. So, these are the certain points that are included with reference to fundamental of a blockchain. So, the first point you can say that we have discussed these points, but they can be included in the fundamental aspect of a blockchain. The first is decentralization, means it will eliminate the fundamental of central authority, and then blocks. So, I have told you how the block behave, what are the contents of a block, and what does it consist of? It consists of a previous hash, it consists of a current value data, and block hash and a timestamp. Okay. And then cryptographic hashing is also there, means the technology and terminology that will make the block secure. Okay. And it ensures that a tamper resistance is there. And then consensus mechanism means if you are transferring the data, all the party who are the part of a blockchain should agree. And so, this can be with reference to proof of work, this can be with reference to proof of stake. And if you are talking about details of it, we will discuss it later. And then transaction model means we should have a transfer of a value in between the participant, and it should be authorized with a reference to authenticity from the users. And then immutability. Immutability means block once added, it cannot be changed by hashing. And then a smart contract. So, this smart contract is nothing else but the basic thing that is a prerequisite requirement. If you are making a protocol with a reference to transfer of a data, there is a smart contract. A smart contract means a set of agreement on the basis of which the data transfer occurs between the parties. And then there is a concept of a public and a private blockchain. We will discuss in detail about how this terminology behaves. And then we will talk about summary. So, if you are talking about a summary with a reference to terminology that we will study is blockchain is a decentralized distributed ledger system that enable the secure and a transparent peer-to-peer transaction without the need of intermediaries. At its core, the blockchain consists of three fundamental components: block, nodes, and consensus mechanism. So, this is all with a reference to the first session on introduction to blockchain. Thanks all. Thank you all. Catch you again in the next session. Thanks.